All right, welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez, behind the scenes, Nicole Burdick, and we're so glad you're here because it's story time, live stream edition. It's Monday, you know. I'm just going through the same grind as you all are, but some people had mentioned they were interested in seeing my Tomik Assembles the Titans deck that I teased in last Friday's video, talking about the whether or not it's a good idea to have exclusive promotional cards be available in the pre-release kits. So go check that video out if you haven't seen it already. But if you have, or if you're just curious about fun decks, that's what we're going to show off here today. I figured since I've got the cast 20 white or black spells daily challenge, this would be a great opportunity to just collect some gold while showing off this deck. So let me pull that up on screen for you here first. And maybe you're watching this on YouTube after the live stream or whatever, in which case, still useful, you know, might be worth having here. So let me just stretch this out so we can see everything. So now, and I guess I can hide my face, right? We don't need to see me here for a second. Okay. So the core part of this deck, which is, you know, pretty budget friendly, all things considered, we're mostly building around Urza Assembles the Titans. It is a rare saga from Dominaria United, and it has three abilities, obviously, that care about planeswalkers, specifically ones that cost 6 or less. And it's got the read ahead mechanic attached to it, so we can kind of pick where we start this saga off. And so kind of with that in mind, I looked at 6 mana planeswalkers, and there are 2 really good ones in standard right now. So we've got the Eternal Wanderer and Vraska Betrayal's Sting. Both of these could come out as early as turn 5 with Urza Assembles the Titans reading ahead. And then to support that package, we've also kind of got, well, right now I've just got 1 copy of Tomik in here, but we could go with more. You know, I don't know. When I'm testing out a new deck idea, I like to sprinkle in a bunch of like 1-ofs and 2-ofs while I kind of figure things out. Also have a couple copies of the amazing Wandering Emperor, and then I have a few prototype creatures, right? Phyrexian Flesh Gorger and Steel Seraph. These work really well with the Eternal Wanderer because her +1 lets us exile a creature or artifact and then return it to the battlefield. Well, if you play Flesh Gorger as a prototype for 3 mana, then 2 turns later you play maybe Urza Assembles the Titans, you read ahead to chapter 2, you play your copy of Eternal Wanderer, exile your own Flesh Gorger, you now have a 7 mana value creature in play on turn 5, which, I don't know. It's not green, you know, we're not ramping, but that's a kind of a neat trick to pull. And then the rest of the deck is mostly just removal stuff. We've got, you know, March of Wretched Sorrow to hold off some of the aggressive red decks, some Shieldred's Edicts here, a couple of Deep Cavern Bats, which are really great at disrupting our opponent's game plan. And then I'm trying, like I said, a bunch of 1-ofs and 2-ofs and stuff. We've got some Bitter Triumph, Ossification. My real secret weapon here is this Lion Sash, which can exile stuff from graveyards, and with everybody trying to collect evidence or, you know, descend or, you know, do things that put stuff into their graveyard. There's a lot of Reanimator decks out there that kind of cheat either Atraxa or one with the multiverse, all those sort of things that rely on their graveyard as a resource. Lion Sash just kind of shuts all that down. And then as he stacks up counters, you can then equip him onto your lifelinking bat, and suddenly you've got like a 5/5 lifelink flyer that is really good. But we've also got, you know, Get Lost to answer opposing planeswalkers, creatures, or enchantments, and a spicy Urza's Silex in here right now, which can wipe the board if we're falling behind, but also it can go and search up perhaps a 6-mana planeswalker, because this leaves us with 6 lands, so that works out nicely. And then I'm also trying a couple of Invasion of Dominaria. I don't love this right now, but gaining 4 life and drawing a card and threatening to flip this into another flying vigilant creature, it kind of helps against, again, those aggressive red decks and whatnot. But this is one that's kind of on the chopping block right now. And then I've also got Lorna the Third Path, just another generically good creature that comes in, destroys wedding announcements or Urabrask's Forge or whatever we need to get rid of. And it's really fun to flicker her with Eternal Wanderer, you know, exile her, bring her back, blow up something else. Probably could go up to like 2 of her and 2 Tomik and maybe cut the invasions, but this is the list as it is right now. Lands are mostly basics. We've got some Shattered Sanctums, some Restless Fortresses, and then 1 each of Iganjo and Takenuma, and that's it. It's a really fun deck that I've been enjoying, and I thought I'd show it off here on this kind of dreary Monday. For me, at least, it's like, what, 35 degrees outside right now? 38. It's going up. It's gone up since lunch. But yeah, it's pretty grim and dark out there, so I thought I'd have some fun showing off how my Assemble the Titans deck works. So let's jump in on the ranked queue here with Titans and see how we do. I guess I can be back on screen now. Not showing the deck list anymore. Well, thanks everyone for being here and watching. I know I didn't really advertise this. I just kind of decided to boot up the stream and see how it goes. So the first dozen of you who are here, appreciate the quick response. Hope we give you a good show. So we've got 2 of our prototype creatures. We've got 3 lands, so we could play either of them on curve because we're going to have double white, double black. Yeah, I think this is a keepable hand. We don't have any of our key planeswalkers or the saga yet, but we've got time, especially because we can gain 4 life and dig a little deeper with invasion. So maybe invasion is good. You know, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. All right, opponent red and green, questing druid. Okay. It looks like they hit another questing druid and a scamp. Patrick says, suggestion, make some creature token planeswalker deck with Elspeth, Kaido, Teferi. Oh man, that could be fun. That'd be an interesting challenge. All right, opponent is trying to throw Audacity on here. I think I'm going to answer this with a 0. Oh, wait, no. Go back. I want this to be 2. Oh, all right. Well, we were going to March of Wretched Sorrow that and discard probably, I don't know, Shieldred's Edict so that they wouldn't get to equip, well, to enchant with their aura. But hey, whatever. That works. That's a W. We'll take that. Patrick, I like your idea of a sort of a Super Friends invasion kind of a themed deck. That's something I might put some thought into for the next week or so. But in the meantime, we're going to run it back with our Assemble the Titans. Sorry, opponent. Didn't mean to leave you hanging there while I fumbled with the controls on Arena. They probably assumed I was holding like cut down. Maybe cut down would be good in here. All right, so this time we've got both of our prototypes, our Saga and our Lion Sash, which I do like. Wish we had some extra white mana for it, but we'll get there. Opponent also on black-white. They've got some pretty sweet sleeves. A little Phyrexian Tribal here, or excuse me, Phyrexian Kindred. So do I want the Sash already? I guess I do. I mean, it doesn't get to do anything on this board, and I'm probably not blocking the duelist, although I might. I don't know, do I want to take 2 Toxic already and give up my Sash? I don't think so. Of course, they're just going to kill it anyway. Maybe we should have blocked. Alright. So we're up to 3, so we could drop our Flesh Gorger as a 3/3 lifelink menace. I think that's fine. I mean, it blocks the Jawbone Duelist well enough for now. The next turn, if we don't hit a land, it's probably going to be the invasion to go digging for one. Alright, well, opponent willing to pay the ward cost to get rid of our only blocker, so we're taking even more infect. Oh gosh, I really don't love poison as a mechanic. It is super frustrating. I feel like now we've got to play the bat just to have blockers. And we take away sentry so that they can't just eat the bat with it. Although as soon as we block either of these, they get it right back. But that might buy us a turn to find some more lands here. I don't know. Alright, so they throw everything they've got on the board. Really don't want to take 3 more toxic and go to 9, because then I'm pretty much dead. So I guess we'll block the 2 from the duelist. Okay, we found a 4th land. Unfortunately, Silex will be online too slow, so we'll play our Seraph. Yep, they had the sentry, so they just get to swallow it up, and that's it. We take 10 poison damage, and we're dead on turn 4. Outstanding format. Love it. Love standard right now, with that being one of the marquee mechanics. But that's okay. That's okay. No, I didn't have fun on that one, Arena. So sorry. Easy come, easy go. We got one free win off of our first opponent, and opponent kind of got a cheap one off of us there, but we are still in high spirits. And I still like this deck, so. All right, 3 lands, Sash, early removal, and we've got Vraska in the hopper for later. We can work with this. Such a boring mechanic, no interaction. I agree. And even if you try to like slow them down when they've got Rot Priest out there who still poisons you just for trying to interact with them, doesn't feel great. Let's take a look at our opponent's hand. I do have 1 copy of Duress in this deck just because I like to know what's going on. So they have some removal, a Planeswalker, Saga. I guess the best thing to get rid of here is Liliana, although we could have just answered her with Ossification. They probably would have made us discard something first, so we'll just get her out now. And now we can even... We could play the Sash and just eat their Liliana, but then they're just going to use their removal on our Lion. So I think we'll just wait. I'd love to see the data from the Did You Have Fun polls. Yeah, I suspect that it's not super granular. I think that they're just trying to collect a very general vibes. And if they see like a sudden spike in a lot of people not having fun, then that might signal to them that there is a problem that they need to investigate. Maybe matchmaking isn't working correctly, something like that. So I don't know if they're like balancing things around it or if it's more just a finger on the pulse of what's happening. And so they're not wasting. They're using Demolition Field to blow up our dual land, which I'm actually okay with. Because maybe at some point we'll draw one of our lands that turn into a creature, and I'd rather have it not get blown up. Although they do still have Field of Ruin, but whatever. Big issues, they never came with interaction counter mechanic, just here's poison. Yeah, and it's you just 10 of them and you're done, and there's nothing you can do about it. Does not feel very good. All right, so we found Urza Assembles the Titan. We don't have a 5th land here, so I think we're still just going to pass it back. We can be patient. You know, we've got some haymakers on the top end, and this deck, I'm not sure. I mean, they had Lily, they have Iron Crag. Seems like they're more of a controlling kind of thing. Okay. So like right now, we could play Urza Assembles the Titans, get Vraska, and go to town, although they will answer that with Shieldred's Edict almost certainly. So why don't we do this? we'll start with chapter 1, scry 4, and see if we can find a second planeswalker. Since we're not under a lot of pressure. Alright, so I'm going to move Lauren to the top. Probably don't need March. Probably don't need 2 prototypes either. And then we're not going to reveal our top card, but drawing her lets us blow up the Iron Crag, which might slow them down. Alright. So before we draw, we can use our Edict to make them sacrifice Shieldred. Pick up Lauren, and now we can play our Vraska. We can use her to draw a card and proliferate, which lets us now activate her again, so we can draw another card and proliferate. Okay, so this is interesting, because now we could use the bat to try and snag Edict, but then they would just kill the bat and get it right back, so that's not great. So I think the plan remains play Lauren, crack their Iron Crag, and try to slow down their mana production. Alright, so opponent is going to correctly use their Edict to get rid of our Vraska, but that's okay. Alright, so we found Restless Fortress. And they've got Long Goodbye. So even if we play like the bat and try to snag that, then Life of Toshiro gives our bat -1, so that's not really going to work. So I think we just play Prototype Seraph. And now none of the modes of their saga really affect the Seraph, and if they want to burn removal on it, I'm actually kind of okay with that, because it means our bat and our Sash might get to stick around. Yeah, that's fine. Oh man, I was really hoping they wouldn't have another one of those. Alright, so is this where we just start attacking with our fortress? I guess so. So it's a 1/4 that also drains 2 life when it attacks. And I really just need to wait out the clock on these sagas so I can safely play a bat and peek at their hand. Could have also put Vraska down there. They found another Shieldred, okay. And I think we're just gonna actually get her with our March, gain some more health. Unfortunately didn't find another land, but it's okay. So 25, 23. Opponent now has Aquazats. Okay. So creatures like this are why we're packing Ossification. Because if we just kill this guy, he's going to keep coming back. So we can just lock him away. And then I guess we use Bat to go look at their hand. And oof. Alright, so we can either take Life of Toshiro and hope they don't draw a 6th land. Yeah, I guess that's the play here, right? Because if we take Jamil, then they just kill our bat. Well, I guess we could just play both bats and take both, but then they might just Path of Peril us, but then they lose their own guys as well, so maybe that's alright. I guess that's worth doing. Welcome to anyone who's joined within the last couple of minutes. We're doing Tomik Assembles the Titans. Alright, so they are attacking here. And now I'm wondering if they're going to follow it up. Oh, they can't because they don't have white mana yet. Okay. Well, I guess they could. They don't need it because this destroys 2 or less. They would have got us. Interesting, but they're going to use their demolition field to blow up our fortress. They don't have white mana. So even if we use my one of Surge here, that doesn't help. That's alright, we just traded boards, and now we know they've got Jamil. So I guess we're just going to try to race them by drawing more cards than they do. You made this deck after watching the video. Have I found Tomik to be of much use? Well, right now I've only got 1 copy of him in this deck. He doesn't show up all the time, but when he does, he either really stops my opponent from getting in free attacks, or he draws removal because they figure he's got to go. All right, so our opponent only hit the Celestis, which I'm not too worried about. Okay, so what I think we're gonna do here is play our Lion Sash while we got the opportunity. We're gonna eat, I don't know, just in case they have a way to bring back these Shieldreds. And make this guy pretty big. I guess we could take Lily as well. And then when we use Vraska, we get to proliferate, so we get an extra counter on the Lion Sash, which is why I really like that guy. Alright, so now their Saga doesn't really bother me. The fact that they might still pop off free stuff here could be a problem, but we're holding an Emperor. We've got a little bit of protection with our Surge. Not if they're doing board wipes, though. Alright, destroy all creatures if evidence was collected, which I assume they just did, right? Okay, well, if they want to burn an entire board wipe on one creature, I guess that's okay. And they get to pick 1 card out of our library to exile, and they picked the Lion Sash, so they are really afraid of that guy for some reason. Alright, but we've got Vraska at 8 loyalty, and she's under, like, no pressure yet. Alright, unfortunately, they get to also look at our hand, so now they know we're holding Wandering Emperor, which makes her a little less good, but... Okay, and they hit Long Goodbye, which doesn't really do anything for them either. So a case could be made here to play the Wanderer that they know about, so when we proliferate, she gets extra counter. We pick up Flesh Gorger. That is interesting. Although they'll just hit it with Long Goodbye, which we could answer with the Surge, but they'll know that we have it. So now we have this weird, like, mind game thing going. I could also just wait and play the Gorger even bigger. I think I'll play him now, because then I can plus Wanderer. Although I guess if I was going to do that, I should have done that first, so I could have proliferated. Oh, but I needed to use her to draw. We just drew him, so that wouldn't have worked. Okay. Oh, but so wait, if this can't be countered, that means even if I... No, if I have hexproof, then that's fine, right? So they don't have to pay the ward, they do. And if I give it Surge, now it gets hexproof? Does that... It does counter the thing. Okay. Oh my god, what? So even though this spell can't be countered, if your creature has hexproof, it still counters it. Or fizzles it, or whatever. Alright, so now they are holding March of Wretched Sorrow. So I think we proliferate everybody. I kind of like playing the invasion here just to draw another card. I don't think we're going to attack it, although we might. Now that we have a 5/5 Gorger, that would give us another threatening creature. Well, let's see what we draw. Maybe it'll be Tomik. Nope, it's our own March. Okay. So in this case, I think I do like getting my angel out of the battle. So this is interesting. It's going to deal 5 damage. Do I flash in my other Wanderer and make this into a 6 so that they waste it? And I get my angel? I think I do. Choose one to keep. So we're going to keep the 3 loyalty one. Use her. Can I put a 1/1 counter on my Gorger? He'll take 5 damage and live. And now we get a free 4/4. Okay. So far this deck is working perfectly, not to jinx it. And opponent has Path of Peril, which is going to wipe out everything. Okay. And they, fortunately, they discover Gix's command, which I don't think really helps them on this board. I mean, I guess they could, yeah. All right. So the command doesn't affect planeswalkers at all. So I think what I want to do here is, I know I just complained about poison, but we're going to use our Vraska to set them to 9 poison, and now if we get to untap with her, we get to proliferate and kill them. And just as insurance, we're going to put down the Silex. That's fine. Because now if they do kill Vraska, we can use the Silex to blow up their board, go find another Vraska, and use her to proliferate and get that 10th poison. Activate land and then Wanderer. Such toxic behavior. Yeah. Well, you know, I live by poison, I die by poison. I guess it's only fair. Alright, so they need to find an answer to Vraska. It looks like they didn't find one, so now we just proliferate and we win. We've assembled the Titans. Good game. Okay, so that's how this deck is supposed to operate. We just kind of keep the board under control, build up our planeswalkers, and then use some combination of them to kill our opponent. Again, I feel a little guilty about it being poison, having just complained about how much I don't like poison. But a lot of planeswalker ultimates kill an opponent in roughly similar fashion, so it's not bad. And it's not like I'm using aggro toxic, I just kind of did it the old-fashioned way. So even though we finished the daily quests for Black and White, we're going to play this again because I like this deck. All right, Cowboy Doug, our opponent. 3 lands, both of our 6-drop planeswalkers, but some early interaction, which might buy us time, so I think I'm okay keeping this. Hello, opponent. Hi there. How's it going? Forest, I like that. Unless it's a toxic green deck, but usually I feel pretty good against green. I can keep them under control. All right. So like here, we want to bolt the bird equivalent, right? I mean, this guy can tap for mana of any color, so if we can keep him from ramping, that's probably good. Bramble Familiar, okay. Usually this is like a combo piece, so I'm a little worried about that. But I also want to keep finding lands so we can play Assemble the Titans, Wanderer, all that. So I think, again, so Invasion of Dominaria continues to be like, you see why I kind of like it, but also like feel like it doesn't really fit? I don't know. Gain 4, draw a card, like that's helpful. And there's Tomik, which we could play next turn if we have no other play. But really we want to probably keep him until we have at least a planeswalker out there. All right, so opponent continuing to like ramp. Are we worried about a Tali or something huge? Like what's going on here? All right, this is a little frustrating. I feel like we should take away Bramble Familiar before they start using it. Could also make a case for just playing Tomik here, although I think they're about to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So yeah, let's lock away this Familiar. Or try to. I suppose they could have Tyvar's Stand or something to give it hexproof. That'd be bad. Royal Treatment. Okay, even better. So, I mean, our hand is like pure gas. We just need to find some lands here. Huzzah. So now I think we... wait and hit him with the old Wandering Emperor, which then sets us up for Tomik and Edict on our next turn if we need it. You love it when they play Cavern of Souls on God. Oh no, what are we up against? All right, so they return the Familiar, obviously intending to do the fetch quest with it. But here is where our opponent makes hopefully a big mistake. Unless their last card is another... Alright, good. It wasn't another Royal Treatment. So we got to exile one of their lands. We just Stone Rained them. Feels pretty good. And now we could assemble the Titans into Vraska, proliferate. That could be good, or we could take it a little bit slower. Atomic Edict. I think I like that a little better. And we'll make them get rid of their loam speaker, effectively denying them even more mana. So now they've only got 5. They can't do the fetch quest. And there we go. So the Atomic just ate some removal, but like a 2-mana 2/4 flyer is still pretty good. All right. So now I think we read ahead because we have a full hand of Planeswalkers. We put Vraska down. She gets to come in with full loyalty. We get to draw a card and proliferate. Which means we now get to use both of these again.
Keep watch for intruders.
Yeah, we'll make a Paris Samurai. Draw, proliferate again. Pretty good turn. No, Atomic wasn't designed for EDH. I mean, he was like one of the promos in the pre-release, and all 3 of them seemed to be clearly designed for Commander. But like, why weren't they in boosters, in collector packs, or in the pre-made EDH decks? I don't know. It just felt like a weird card. The affinity for Planeswalkers, for one, it's kind of just, I don't know. I see what they did there, but okay. So I think we give one of these a counter.
I have got new moves to teach you.
Then what do we want to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I guess we can play Big Steel Seraph here. We can even give one of these guys lifelink, and I'm going to give it to the smaller one just in case they're trying to remove one of these. We kind of diversify. Diversify our threats, but we knock out our battle, pick up a free angel, and now our board is looking pretty good here. Quake Mole, okay. Actually not worried about that at all, because we can just turn it into a treasure with Vraska, or we could play Eternal Wanderer and just exile it pretty much forever. Which do we like better? I mean, I guess the fear here, though, is if their last card is once again Royal Treatment, but we'll find out. So we're going to use, Eternal Wanderer's +1, exile target artifact or creature, return it to the battlefield, beginning of its... They do have another Royal Treatment. Very good, opponent. All right. So it has Ward 1 now, so now we can't turn it into treasure. All right. Well.
We must protect the people.
All right, so you're good to attack, you're good to attack, and you're good to attack. Could have won with poison from double Vraska. You might be right. It's hard to remember. So to give them 9 poison, we need 9 loyalty, which usually puts her down to 0. Because you need to do that and then also use her 0. So she has to be at 10 loyalty on a turn to do the double. All right, so when it becomes blocked, I guess we just don't even have to block this guy, right? Opponent plays a second Quake Maul. And they're pretty much dead here, right? Dead on board. There we go. Tomik Assembles the Titans. Does it again. The commander-oriented things in regular sets makes little sense to me. Well, I kind of get that. I mean, if I'm opening play boosters or set boosters or collector boosters, it is nice to have a variety of cards in there. Maybe not in like just draft boosters, but we don't have those anymore. Now we just have play boosters, and they've got list cards, and they've got other weird stuff that kind of already feels a little weird. So you might as well throw some commander cards in there. I don't mind, but polluting the regular play queues, you end up with both Brawl people unhappy and the standard historic folk. Well, oh, I had a second Vraska in hand. You're right. I could have just -9 to the other one and then played the next one. You're right. I'm sorry. An embarrassment of riches, as we like to say. But now you see why I like this deck. You can win a couple different ways. That time it was through combat damage, but we've done it through poison, and technically we've done it through our opponent conceding. But whatever. We're having a good time. Bold of you guys to assume I would kill my own Vraska, though. Like, she's perfect. We love her. We don't sacrifice or kill our own Vraska. Don't be ridiculous. All right, 3 lands. Ugh, did we learn our lesson last time? But like 4-drop Wanderer, 3-drop Flesh Gorger, Edict, Greedy Keep? Well, let's find out. We'll open with Restless Fortress, my favorite of the Restless lands. Opponent, Generous Visitor. Respect. Yeah, I guess we can let that ride for right now. Naya, another visitor. Okay. Sticky fingers. Ouch. Well, I think we can just get lost that guy. So now they get none of their counters. And so now, to make it harder for them to map, I think we're also just gonna make them sack this guy. Do enjoy seeing you play live. Favorite YouTube streamer. Oh, thanks, buddy. I think you mean only YouTube streamer. I don't know anyone else who streams on YouTube. I don't think I've ever seen a stream pop up in my own feed, ever. Does anyone else stream on YouTube? Is everyone on Twitch? Either I'm a genius or a moron. I can't figure out which, but I figured I already have a YouTube channel that is big and reasonably successful. I might as well just also use it for streams, right? Like, why learn a whole nother platform and try to get my audience to follow me over there and stuff? Like, why not just do it here? All right, if they attack with this naturalist, I think we just eat it with the Wanderer. And they're going to want to. They're going to want to gain that life back because they've got a painful land. Kyle Hill streams on YouTube. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Loading ready run. Really? I thought they were just on Twitch. See, I didn't know. I didn't know that. I know some of them have set up like multi-casting or whatever so that they technically stream on 2 things at once.
You're just underwhelmed. You're done.
Sanctum. Okay. 5 lands. Do we drop Flesh Gorger and put a counter on it? I think I like that. That makes this even harder to remove because now they got to pay 4 life for it. Only Magic player I follow who streams on YouTube. Nice. Okay, well then I'm humbled that you choose me. Oh dear. Wow, I have not seen this played in a minute. All right, Draconic Destiny, enchanted creature, +1/+1, flying, haste, and fire breathing, and it's now a 7/5, 8/5. Well, I suppose they're gonna kill our Wandering Emperor. Okay, that's actually okay. She's kind of like done her thing. So this has got Audacity and this. When enchanted creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. Man, I would have loved to pick up a land here so we could have just exiled this guy, but I guess we got time. We got time. We're not dead yet. We'll just hit them, gain some life, let them probably fire breathing tap out to pump this up, and then we'll hit it with Get Lost. This guy's putting all his eggs in one basket. Yeah, well. Should we tell him? Should we tell him? Nice. I mean, they've got to know I'm holding something, right? Because it keeps giving me priority. Goes for the full 15. Okay. There's no attack trigger here or anything, right? Sorry, buddy. Get lost. Alright. And they GG it? So the two Audacities draw them 2 more cards. Kami gets to come back. The Destiny comes back. Oof. I'm gonna hold on to Assemble the Titans. I want them to play their creature first so that I can play Wanderer and then exile it. If I just play Titans now, then they'll know this is coming and they won't give me the or they'll play this and give it haste and they'll just kill it. So we're gonna wait. I don't think they can do 30 damage to me on this turn. So now we can either pick up a land and play her naturally, or we can assemble to force her out and then blink this guy, and then we're pretty much on easy street, I think. All right, they're still making this omelet. Here you go. Attack for 6. Oh boy. All right, well, we hit Takanuma. So maybe we just play that and save our Assemble the Titans. And, you know, exile that. So now it didn't die. So now Destiny falls away forever. Feels pretty good. Calyx, okay. Bide Self, not enough. Companion. So now they can block my Menacing Gorger. Unless I read ahead all the way to chapter 3 so I can double exile stuff. But then I still only get to deal 4 damage with my Flesh Gorger, so maybe we don't do that. Alright. Double Titans. Interesting. Okay, so Audacity says when it's put into a graveyard. So even if I exile Calyx, they still draw from Audacity. Could play Titans, exile something else. I guess that's all right, right? I mean, I don't love it, but
I'll handle this one.
since we're holding 2 Titans and 2 Wanderers, guess we might as well use what we got. Take away you, so they don't get the extra card draw. Okay. So now they could play their lookout. Oh, companion. Okay. So now, even if they rebuild their board, we just -4 our Eternal Wanderer, leave them with just one blocker, and we keep our menacing attacker. So we win. We're gonna win. Nothing they can do changes that. Sure. Okay. So, -4. For each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures not chosen this way. I will let you keep your doggo. I mean, technically, I could have just animated my Restless Fortress and won there for 2 as well. Yeah, you saw it. So again, this deck has multiple avenues to victory. You can tell why I like it. I mean, I'm still not sold on the exact split of creatures and removal spells, but guys, I'm pretty happy with this deck. Let's put the list up one more time, just for anyone who joined in the last half hour or so. We are playing Tomik Assembles the Titans. All right, so here it is, and I will get rid of my hideous bald face again. Okay, so again, for anyone who missed it, our main cards are Urza Assembles the Titans. It's a saga that lets us play a 6 mana value planeswalker for free, and or scry 4 to dig one up, and or activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers we control twice rather than once. All very good things, all starting on turn 5. Our 6 mana planeswalkers are the Eternal Wanderer, who can wipe the board, exile stuff and bring it back, create tokens forever, and Vraska, who can draw cards, proliferate, which also works with the saga because it lets us get another verse counter on there. We can turn opposing stuff into treasures, which is a really good way to remove things with abilities like the gods that otherwise, when they die, they flip into lands. This doesn't care about that. Or we can just give them poison and then proliferate and kill them that way. We've got a couple of prototypes here, the Flesh Gorger and the Steel Seraph. These are great because they're cheap enough to play early or late, because you can play them in either mode, but really they shine when you've got Eternal Wanderer out there because she can use her +1 to exile the prototype, and then it comes back as the 6 or 7 mana version of itself, which is quite good, again, especially when you get that on turn 5, coming off of Urza Assembles the Titans. Eternal Wanderer is also here just because she is amazing, and we've got one of Tomik, just because he's kind of like the inspiration for this deck. I don't know if I need more of him. I mean, he's kind of cool. He's helpful every time I draw him, but not super essential to our game plan. Lauren's in here just to answer tricky artifacts or enchantments, and she's really fun to blink with Eternal Wanderer if we need to. And then Invasion of Dominaria is one that I'm still on the fence about. I mean, drawing a card, gaining life, kind of gives us some insurance against red aggro. I'm terrified of Monastery Swiftspear with monstrous rage on it and losing 6 or 7 life on turn 2 or whatever. So this is kind of a way to protect against that, but could be cut or replaced for something else. Silex, also another way to draw our expensive planeswalkers or reset the board if we need to for our opponents on their own Planeswalker Super Friends plan. This is a good way to thin that out. Get Lost is like always good. I might want a third one of these, maybe instead of Bitter Triumph, because it pretty much does the same thing and it doesn't cost us life or discarding, and it can hit enchantments. So yeah, that might be better. Ossification, again, for the trickier gods or things that can come back out of graveyards. This is nice to have access to, but I don't want to overdo it because it does need a basic land in play. Lion Sash, though, is also great. I love eating stuff out of the opponent's graveyards, building up counters, which you can proliferate with Vraska, and then you can equip this onto Tomik or these deep cavern bats and make a huge lifelinker or a huge flyer or something like that. So he's good. The bats are also very useful to kind of interrupt our opponent's plans. And then we just got some other removal stuff. Edict, March, a single Duress, and a single Surge of Salvation. Just for the lulls mostly, but I do like to run a few one-ofs kind of in here. When they hit right, they feel great. But, you know, you can never really count on drawing these things. They're just kind of silver bullets that are fun to have when you hit them. That's the deck. I really like it. I lost count of how many we just won in a row there, but we were on a pretty good streak. And, you know, if you like this one, let me know, either in the comments or by liking the video or whatever. I had planned to stream for about an hour. We are at that point, but I do still have another daily quest to do. So let me just see what's going on in chat here. Would love to stay and watch, but work tomorrow and I need to hit the hay. Oh, I totally get it. I love sleep. Sleep is great. You can never have too much. Or maybe you can, I don't know. Thanks for watching, though, and please join us next time. All right, so cast 20 blue or green spells. How can we complete this quest? For that one, here's what I would like to do. I think we're going to play some Brawl, and we're going to use my Naban Wizards mono blue deck. Let's do that. Gomez Gazelle, which is my brother. He thinks I don't see him in chat. Restoration of Iganjo as a replacement to Invasion. That's an interesting call. That's an interesting call. That's another saga. Works with Proliferate. Lets us maybe ramp by discarding and playing stuff. I'll think on that one. That's a good idea, brother. Okay, so we've got some islands and some wizard stuff. I mean, this is a 100-card singleton, so there's no point in trying to explain the deck list on this one. I will turn my face back on. All right, opponent on mono green. We got mono green, mono blue. Nature versus nurture. I like my chances. My deck is super good. This is a deck I also have in paper. Almost exactly the same. Granted, I'm using... using an arena only card here, an alchemy card, if you will, but it is a wizard. All right, so our opponent played Seasons of Growth. Fine, we're gonna Naban because I don't think they're gonna really have a way to kill this guy. And so what Naban does, if a wizard entering the battlefield under your control causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that triggers again. He's Panharmonicon for wizards. So, like, if I played Faceless Aged right now, it's a shapeshifter, it's a wizard. When it enters, I get to seek 2 more wizards, but I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. So I would have to discard something at the end of the turn. Alternatively, I could try to slow them down by bouncing their Crucible of Worlds. Then they'll just replay it, and then Evolving Wilds. I guess that's all right. I think we want tempo on our side here. So we'll just bounce that. Let's go. One more. All right. Opponent elects to cultivate this time instead of replaying a permanent. Interesting. Perhaps they are aware of my bounce synergies. Okay. So we drew multiple choice. It's a nice flexible spell. I don't super love it for this deck, but whatever. Kasmina also might be good here. We could also just hold on to this Narset's reversal. I think we're gonna go Kasmina.
Under my instruction,
Make a wizard, draw.
join my cause.
Yeah, I don't know how useful multiple choice is gonna be. Actually, maybe we'll keep that. Maybe we'll ditch... Oh, man, so many choices. I don't think we need the Mimic. Although, using it as our 5th land... Alright, so they play their commander. He's a 4/4. Power and toughness equal to number of lands they control. Whenever one or more non-token lands enter the battlefield under your control... Excuse me. I'm trying to read this. Make a duplicate of it. So they play a forest, they get 2 more forests. Fine. So they have a 6/6. We've got 5 mana to work with. So we could do a X's 4 multiple choice, which will let us scry, draw, return their commander, create an elemental. We get to do all of that. I kind of like it. So do we want to pick up another land here? Yeah. Bounce their commander. I think we can also use Kazmina again.
Focus on what matters.
What do we get rid of? Master of Winds we might want. Summoner we definitely want. Agent we want. I guess Narset's Reversal is not super great here. It's not like we're going to take their Cultivate. Okay, opponent with Gruff Triplets. Oh gosh. That's a little scary. But not when we're holding like a Cyclone Summoner, because we're just gonna get those out of here. Oh man. Yes. Oh my gosh. This is looking great. Alright. So we have 6 mana. I think we... Aether Channeler, we get to do return triplets. I probably should have returned both the tokens, right? Why did I click the other one? Oh no. Well, no, now I can just counter it. That's actually fine. Totally fine. I meant to do that. I want them to lose their triplets. I don't play blue a lot, but when I do, all right, or do we just counter their commander? I think that's probably a better jerk move, right? That's classic blue. 4 blue spells. What are we counting? How many spells I'm playing? Oh, for the achievement or the challenge. Thank you. I get it. I get it now. Counting how many spells. Okay. So we picked up Naru Meha. She's really cool. She's got Flash. When she enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery you control. I mean, I'm not super worried about that. Other wizards get +1/+1. More useful. But I think we're going to do Faceless Agent first. See if we can find one of our bounce wizards. C8 Oracle also is pretty good. And again, since everything is doubled up with Naban, Trickster? Sure. I think we're okay just keeping pressure on them with our 4/4 here. Alright, so we are at 6 mana. When we get to 7, we can play Cyclone Summoner. We'll lose our Elemental token, but everything else gets to stay. And we wipe their board, so I think that would be ideal. Tower. Okay, so if you don't know this card, Cyclone Summoner. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, return all permanents to their owner's hands except for giants, wizards, and lands. And everything we have is a wizard. So this is like... I don't know. Kind of like Cyclonic Rift, I guess. Or some other mass bounce spell. We do lose our 4/4 token. We get our Planeswalker back to recast. But their board gets reset entirely, and we'll have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll have 11 power to attack with. So unless they have a way to flash in a blocker or something. They do not. They have a concede button. Hooray! All right. So that's 7 out of, what do we need? 30? Oh, out of 20. We're up to 8 out of 20. Okay. And we get whatever that is. Don't care. So now that we've seen what this deck does, I guess I'll put the list up on screen here real quick, just so that we can kind of talk about it, and we'll probably run it one more time. Okay, so again, the idea is to use Naban here to double up as many of our wizard triggers as we can. And to that end, we have stuff like Merfolk Trickster, which taps an opponent's creature. Well, we get to do that twice. We've got Augur of Bolas, who looks at the top 3 cards of our library, and then we can pick an instant or sorcery and put it in our hand. We get to do that twice. We've got Clone Crafter, which again, alchemy card. I don't love it, but it does work really well for this deck. Conjure a duplicate of a random creature card from an opponent's library into your hand. We'll do that twice. It's like a 2-mana draw 2 that leaves behind a blocker. That's pretty good. And then we've got a bunch of bounce stuff like Into the Royal, Expel from Orzaka, Disdainful Stroke to answer big threats. You know, it's mostly just Run Away Together is a really fun one because we get to return one of our own wizards. And then we play something like imagine we play, oh, where is he? Baron, right? So he comes in, enters the battlefield, return up to 1 other target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Well, if Naban is out on turn 2, then turn 3 we play Baron. We get to bounce 2 of their things. They try to replay their board, so we do Run Away Together, return another thing off of their board, bring our Baron back, replay Baron, bounce 2 more things. It's really hard for the opponent to keep a board against us, and then you get stuff like Thassa Deep Dwelling, who isn't a wizard, but at the beginning of our end step, we get to exile somebody, bring them right back, so that can trigger, 2 more Baron bounces, or Trophy Mage, we can go get value 3 artifacts. So I use her to dig up stuff like Heraldic Banner, makes all of our blue creatures bigger. Herald's Horn, Icon of Ancestry, set to wizard. Kefnit's Monument lets us do some pretty crazy stuff with tapping and bouncing and all that. So that's the deck. It is all mono blue wizards with a really strong bounce and kind of doubling up theme. We have a little bit of thievery in here thanks to stuff like Invoke the Winds. We could just steal their best thing. And then my favorite, the top of the hill here, the Cyclone Summoner just is a great way to just push through that last chunk of damage. So that's the deck. I love it. Let's run it one more time here, see if we can bang out the rest of these challenges and earn some gold here. So we're Storm count is at 8, blue count's at 8, wizard count, whatever we're gonna call it. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're just hanging out, doing Monday challenges, earning our gold. Really appreciate y'all being here for this stream. Didn't really plan it, just kind of woke up today and said I've been meaning to do more streaming, and why not? Why not today, right? What's keeping me from doing that? So this looks a little deceptive because it's technically 3 lands. Glasspool, Mimic, we can play face down. I'm okay doing that. That'll actually let us curve pretty nicely into our commander. And then Augur Bolas if we want. We're up against the Quake Mole though. We're on a short clock. Yield 4 mana, 8/4. Okay. So I like that they led on green and not red, so I don't have to worry about getting shocked or something embarrassing. All right, so there's 1, which brings us up to 9. Goblin and Necromancer. Each spell you cast that's red or green costs 1 less to cast, so they can play their commander on the very next turn. I think we're going to hold on to Tail's End. So Tail's End is another one of those interesting cards, right? Counter target activated ability, triggered ability, or legendary spell. That's right up there with, what's the other one? Washout, where it's like counter target spell that was cast from exile or something. And like, it's like, obviously that's a great commander card because they're always going to try to play their commander. Are we okay with them having this guy? Yeah, I guess. I mean, they don't have the mana for him, so that's fine. So a good draw here would be like Baron or one of the bounce wizards, because I could just reset their board. But if we don't draw that, then we'll probably just play our 4th land, play Augur, and keep up Tail's End to answer their commander. So this lets us look at the top 3 cards twice. Oh god, 3 lands. All right, those go to the bottom. And then 2 more lands and a Tempest Call. All right, so this guy doesn't hit very often, but when he does, it's nice to pick up, you know, Wizard's Retort or something. But we've already got Tail's End, so I'm not too worried. Also, Narset's Reversal. I don't think that's going to really matter here, but we'll try. All right. So they go to the beginning of combat. Double target creature's power till on turn that creature must be blocked. Sure. So do we block with both of these guys just to get rid of this, or do we just chump block it? I think I'm okay doing the double block because it's not like we have a lot of wizards we're trying to double up right now. And Naban is cheap enough that we can get him back pretty soon. All right, so now we have 5 mana. We want to keep Tail's End for sure. Do I just play Gadwick or Queen of Ice? So she is a wizard. She has her adventure, tap target creature, it doesn't untap. That's whatever. And for 3 mana, she's a 2/3. Whenever she deals combat damage to a creature, tap that creature, it doesn't untap. So she doesn't really work well with Naban, but she does work with a lot of the wizard buffs and other stuff. So maybe she stays, maybe she gets swapped out. Probably one of the weaker cards in this list, which is otherwise pretty polished. And I think our opponent realizes we're still keeping double blue up here, so they're probably nervous about running into a counterspell. They go for the boots. They go for Uprising. Okay. Sure. Hmm? All right. So I would like to find some more lands. One way we could do that is play Champion of Wits. We get to draw 2, then discard 2. I think that's worth going for here. We don't find any lands. Ouch. Well, I think we can get rid of Reversal. I like Reflection. I love Channeler. We're definitely keeping Tail's End. So it's just a question of Gadwick, who I also really like, or this Master of Winds. Having a flyer against them might be good, but I guess we put all of our lands on the bottom when we, yeah, boom, 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 boom. Oh, gosh. Sword of Fire and Ice. Protection from blue. Outstanding. Yeah. And then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, deal 2 damage to any target and draw a card. My goodness. Alright. So I think I do have some colorless creatures in here. Still not finding the lands. I think we'll do Icon of Ancestry. And then I guess since neither of these can actually block this guy, is it worth just swinging in with both? I guess it is. So remember, they have to be blue spells, so Icon doesn't count. So I'm not sure if that's one of the 12. Alright, so they're gonna move to equip. I guess that's alright. Oh, they hadn't equipped yet. I was looking at the thing from the boots. They didn't have protection blue yet, but they do now. Alright, well, I guess that's fine. So we're going to make copies of both of these just because they're not playing their commander this turn. And an Elvish Mystic, okay. Alright, finally. So that gives us 6. So we could play Channeler and bounce their sword, which buys us more time. I don't hate that. Okay, and then with our remaining 3, I guess we still want to hold up Tail's End in case they try to play their commander. Such a slow, grindy match, but they gotta respect our counterspell every time. And if they want to spend all their mana just replaying the sword, like, I'm kind of okay with that. And if they don't play anything that we counter, then we have 3 mana left, which lets us use this Icon of Ancestry. Destroy target creature and up to 1 other target legendary creature you control each of the whatever. All right, so they're just gonna kill my Channeler. Okay. I mean, it's a good waste of a fight spell, I guess. So they seem to also be like really stuck on lands, which, hey, I'll take it. And a Mithril Coat. Sure. Sure. So we will use Icon's ability, pay 3. We get to pick up a Trophy Mage. Invoke the Winds. Okay, so that is really good. So we could play Trophy Mage, go get a 3 mana artifact, but then we won't have enough mana to play Tail's End. So I think we just play another Queen of Ice here. Remind our opponent that we are thoughtful. Stick them for 3 more. Okay. So they know we're holding that. They know we got another copy of our Champion of Wits. I don't like how when you make a copy of something, we don't get the fancy art, you know? Like, come on. All right, so our opponent finally decides they got to punch through our counterspell. So they try to jam their commander. We send it back. I mean, I guess what I want them to do now is replay that sword, and I'll just steal it with Invoke the Winds. I don't think I want to steal Mithril Coat. I can't steal this guy because he's got hexproof. And I'm not going to steal an elf. Alright, what are we up to? 16. Okay. Hello. You were giving us the hellos all the time, opponent. Excuse me. Oh, are they salty sad? Are they not happy that we finally countered one of their things? What's going on here, buddy? Okay, this is the great part about playing online, the anonymity it provides you. If someone pulled this in paper, perhaps at a pre-release or commander night across the table from me, there would be words exchanged in the parking lot. But they're allowed to play Arena how they want to play Arena. All we can do is sunbathe our card. Incredibly timely disconnect. You are far more generous with your assumptions than I. Didn't pick up a land, though. So what is the play here? I guess we could trophy mage it. They don't know. Steal a sword, get a trigger when they attack. Well, they haven't played the sword yet. That's the problem. So we can get Robe of the Archmagi, which is pretty good. We can get one of our colorless creatures. Or we can get Herald's Horn and just start filling up our hand. What do we like? I think Pretender's pretty good. Set him on Wizard. There's the funny play, yes. Yeah, if they ever play the sword, I'll steal it. If they play their commander, they did. But this is interesting. They just let it go to, oh, because they're not playing anymore. Like, why did they decide to do that? They didn't. They just waited for the thing to time out. Anyway, so pro tip, if you're making a monocolored commander deck, try to include some colorless stuff in there. I know that sounds like obvious, but in this case, our opponent has a sword that would give them protection from blue, and if our deck was truly mono blue, we would have like no way to interact with whatever they equip that to. Bloodline Pretender is a shapeshifter, so he is a wizard, but he's also colorless. And as we play additional wizards, he gets +1/+1 counters on him. And if we have Naban out, he actually gets double counters every time. So he can grow quite big, quite fast. And that's like a good way to interact with, you know, stuff that has protection from a color or hoses a certain color. So I always look for a few colorless things to kind of fill out my curves whenever I can. But there we go. Opponents with their try to win on turn 4, 8/4 Mole God couldn't handle my patient wizards. All right, we need to cast 3 more blue or green spells. So let's keep it on Brawl here for a moment, but I think we're going to pivot over to a different deck. And I'm not going to show you the list. We'll jump right into it again because that's more fun. So we need some green, so we're going to play Kadama's Toys. Here we go. And surely we'll be able to get 3 green spells out of this, right? Okay, and now we're coming up on, what, an hour and a half? My daughter's going to be home from school any minute, so we'll just probably do 1 game here, and then maybe I'll give you a peek at the Kadama list as well. But yeah, this looks good. So our commander this time is Kadama of the West Tree. 3 mana, 3/3. Modified creatures we control have trample. The whole deck is modifying creatures, basically. We got ways to put +1 counters on stuff. Jade Light Ranger, exploring. We got equipment we can throw on. We've got everything we need to just make everybody have a +1/+1 counter. Therefore, they all have trample. Therefore, they all get to dig up lands. It's just a lot of fun. All right, Swarm Saboteur from our opponent, who is playing the Aftermath Ob Nixilis. That's something we don't see often. I think we're going to run out our Jade Light Ranger because we need to find lands here. There's one. And I don't particularly want this Web Spinner Cuff. But we'll play our land. Ooh, Tragic Brawl. Okay. Target creature we control fights this. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, conjure a card named Virus Beetle. I think we can wait, see what they do here. So, we played 1 green. I don't really want to give them a Virus Beetle. Do I want to? I mean, I guess if I fight, they still both die anyway. So, I guess I'll just block. Although a case could have been made keeping that so I could play Kodama and then immediately attack. Nah. Alright, so we'll play our commander. Hopefully they don't... Hopefully the red and black deck doesn't have a way to kill a 3/3. There it is. Ugh. It's fine though. It's totally fine. I meant to do that. So what does he do? Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a counter on him. Exile the top card of your library, you can cast it. Okay, I mean, that's cool and all, but like... So I think it's Beseiju here. We'll go grab some forests. There's sweet Kamigawa art, appropriate for our commander. 19 green blue spells. Well, I think we've got to have crossed it now, right? Or no, is that 18? Yeah, still short one. Ah, so they channel out some spirits, which are gonna let me lose 1. Yep. So they get a counter and they get bone shards. Oh no. Opponent's deck is gas. I like it. I like it quite a bit. All right. So we play our land. What do we like here? Dragons are good, right? Play a dragon. And a spider? Yeah. You get him, little guy. So the spider's in here to knock out flyers, and because it has the escape ability, which brings it back with counters on it, which is pretty good. All right. Oh, is this like an infinite? Do they just win because they have all will be 1 and oh my god. Nice. Yep. So if you've never seen this one before, all will be 1, an enchantment. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent, deal that much damage to target opponent. And Ob Nixilis says whenever you deal 1 damage to an opponent, put a counter on me. So now they're just gonna do this forever. Or until I quit, which is right now. Cool. They just happen to have both of those. Love it. Okay. Not a problem. But I cannot end on an L, so I think we're going to have to do this one more time. I think I messed up playing my commander on an empty board and letting them kill it. I should have played like... who did I have? Fetterlit or something was in my hand still, right? I could have played that instead. But it's fine. Oh, Hardened Scales, pretty good. Batterbone, Teachings, and Ranger again. Yeah. All right, this time we're going to modify some dudes. and win this game. Our opponent has Zimone and Dina, which I love. That's another one I have in paper. Really cool. So we'll open up with Hardened Scales. And then what do we do turn 2? Teachings or Batterbone? I think we'll do Teachings here. So Teachings of the Kieran, mill 3, make a 1/1 spirit, then put a 1/1 counter on stuff. Yep, but Hardened Scales is going to make it 2 counters. Love it, love it. Alright, so opponent has all their mana. I don't want to walk my commander into a counterspell. Jade Light hits double lands. Interesting. Is this going to be like, yeah, Deadly Dispute or Village Rites or something? All right. So no damage to the opponent, but they do get to dig a little deeper. So against the Zimone and Dina deck, it is kind of crucial to keep their board empty because their ability to tap and sacrifice another creature lets them draw more cards. But if you just don't give them any other bodies to like feed, then it's much harder for this deck to pop off. And I know that because I play this one in paper myself. Oh dear. Alright, so we're hitting a lot of lands. I mean, how worried am I about like a board wipe on their side? Usually that deck doesn't main one, so I kind of want to catch up to their lands. So we'll try and resolve Kadam. I guess what they have one treasure, they could have, there it is, Wash Away. Outstanding. Okay, well, you got me. So now we don't get to ramp with our modified spirit, but that's alright. Counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. Okay, that's the part I couldn't remember earlier. I knew this card existed. I wasn't sure if it's like cast from exile or whatever. Tatiova, very good. Yep. Okay. So, could replay our commander. And try to get in with our 3/3, which is modified. We get a free land off of that. And now if we can just keep it together from here, we'll be in good shape. Opponent plays their commander. And if they have a land or... okay. So Zimone and Dina, I don't know if we've read this one yet. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. So they play the Zealot, which draws them their second card. So they're doing all right. So we could just throw like this Blanchwood armor on somebody and make them huge. Let's do that. Or let's try to anyway, because they might have a way to kill it. Oh man, if this is like Fatal Push or something, I'm in real trouble. Huzzah. Okay. And then I guess I might as well just like... Okay, so when this thing attacks, we can exile... Exile a non-creature to put a counter on somebody. So we'll buff up Kadama. He actually gets 2 counters thanks to Hardened Scales. They block the Jade Light Ranger. That's okay because it's now they can't sacrifice it to Zamon and Dina. We get more lands. One and 2. Okay. And then is it worth just running Batterbone out here while we got the mana for it? Sure. All right, our board is looking pretty good. Although, again, Zamon and Dina capable of like popping off. They can do some stuff. They can gain life. They can draw a lot of cards. So let's see. Green cup for the green deck. So like even just if they play a land, right? They gain a life, they draw a card. That'll be their second card, so they'll gain 2 more life. But they need a way to answer like a 10-10 trample, so playing lands won't do it by itself. Casualties of war, okay. Yeah, sure. Destroy our enchantment. All right, cool. Okay, so what did they actually blow up? A land, Blanchwood Armor, Eater of Virtue, and our commander? Artifact, creature, enchantment, land, planeswalker. Kind of interesting they didn't take Hardened Scales. Or the Kieran itself, which was an enchantment. They blew up the enchantment that was on it. Whatever. Okay. So now we have 8, 9 mana to work with. This would be 7. That only leaves us with 2. So I guess we're just going to do this Gear Hulk. And he says distribute 4 1/1 counters, but Hardened Scales is going to make it an extra 1 for each one that we spread out. So we'll do it that way. So they each get 2. Yeah. And, well, I think we'll do that. And this guy says we can exile a non-creature, put a 1/1 counter. So we'll put them on himself to make him big enough that he won't get eaten by Zamon and Dina. And now opponent has 10 damage coming at him. They're going to have to give up somebody. They give up Tatioa. Ooh, they give up both. Okay. That could mean like a legit board wipe is coming? I don't know. All right, opponent. I guess we'll just use our Beseiju here just to kind of thin out our deck some more. Grab some more forests and pass. Assemble the team. Search the top third of your library for a card. So what are they looking for here? Something that can deal with the whole board. For just 5 mana. There you go. Alright, so they used Bantu's Last Reckoning, destroy all creatures for just 3 mana, really good. But their own lands don't untap. Oh, come on, we even... I didn't even want to do that either. What was I doing? I guess we play our commander. I forgot that step 2 on the, or verse 2, put up to 1 target land from your graveyard on top of your library. So now we're drawing another land. No. Cool. I think we're doing all right. So we can equip Batterbone. Attack for 4. They jump block it. We don't get to ramp. Boo. Alright, they're down to 6. Come on, party pizza. Yeah, it's getting dark out. I didn't realize I'm sitting here in this gloom. Reach the multiverse. You'll love to see it. I mean, even if they take, what, Shieldred and Nissa, probably the best things they can take here. I think we still just punch through. They take Shieldred and the Gear Hulk. Okay. And throw a ton of counters on Shieldred. I mean, I guess. We're about to attack with a 13... my plan is to move Batterbone to the branch of Beseiju. And its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands we control. We're going to play a 12th land here. Oh, God, yes. All right, they dug out Prime Time, but I don't think it's going to matter. So I think we're going to keep Beseiju alive. And trample over for a bunch. We lose our commander, but that's actually okay. We can certainly afford to replay it if we want to. Or we could just play this guy. Sure. I don't think it super matters what we're exiling here. There. Alright, so they have Primeval Titan. Whenever it enters battlefield or attacks, search your library for up to 2 lands. Scoot Swarm, but we have a 14/14, which will have trample as soon as we play our Kadama again. So I think we're still okay. I don't really want to draw any more lands. And that Tamio safekeeping was pretty timely. Opponent gets to make a ton of bugs. Oh. God. Okay, well now I guess they do have enough blockers for my... Man, we were doing so good. In addition to poison being one of my least favorite mechanics, this card is one of my least favorite cards, but it's totally fine. They just happen to have 23, blockers now. Man, if their next card is Crater Hoof Behemoth, I am gonna tilt right out of here. Oh, village rights, that's fine. We were doing great. We had them down to 2. All they had was like a Gear Hulk that they had to steal from us. And then they play this thing. And a fetch land. Yeah, sure. And since I'm mono green, I don't really have anything that flies. I don't really have any way to get over the top of them. I don't have any way to burn or, you know, deal those last 4 points of damage. And now they're going to start gaining like 2 a turn because they're just going to sacrifice. Yeah, all right, all right. Oh, man, I hate Swarm. It's so annoying. Still, this has been a lot of fun, but I think we're going to have to stop here because this has already gone on longer than I intended, but I had a great time. But now it's getting kind of late in the day for me. I gotta get dinner together, get my daughter. I heard her bus pull up, so I gotta check in on her. But we did knock out our 2 challenges, which is what I wanted, and I got to show off the deck that I really wanted to show, which was the Escape Tunnel. That'd be a good one, or like a Rogue's Passage or something to make somebody unblockable. That's I should put in there. Good thinking, Grady. Okay. Anyway, in case you missed it earlier, today's main event was the Titans deck built around Assembles the Titans. Urza Assembles the Titans. We ramped into some Planeswalkers. We played some prototypes. We even saw Tomik show up for a little bit. But I would appreciate y'all's feedback. What could we change out of here? I heard Invasion swap for Restoration of Iganjo. Might make that change later. I might drop this Bitter Triumph for another copy of Get Lost, because I think it's almost the same thing, just better. But otherwise, I'm really happy with this list. Maybe go up to 2 Tomiks and 2 Lorens if I can find something else to shuffle around there. But leave me your thoughts down below. If you enjoy these streams, you know, the feedback is always helpful. I'm trying to do more, trying to get better at having a schedule and you know, a plan, and not just pop on to show off a deck. Although Nicole says just doing the dailies, you know, maybe every day or every other day, just to kind of keep up some rhythm here might be worth doing. So thanks again, everybody who joined in here for today's little impromptu live stream. Look, it's like, so there's a giant window right on the other side of this camera. You can't even tell because it's like nighttime. It's 3:50 in New York and it's nighttime. It's so dumb. Onwards and upwards. This has been Story Time. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find here on Magic Arcanum. And we'll see ya.